We are still on neurology. Let's take a little look at the meninges. So when we talk about the meninges, I want you to keep in mind pad, P-A-D, piamata, duramata, and arachnoid mater. Okay, just remember pad, P-A-D. So when we talk about the brain, we have different things that can protect the brain. One of them are your skeletal bones, right? Like the skull. We have the skull that can protect the brain. We have meninges, which are the same meninges that we have around the spinal cord, which is the dura mater, arachnoid, and pia mater, pad. And then we have fluid, which is cerebral spinal fluid, which is made by the ependymal cells. The ependymal cells are one of the type of neuroglial cells. And ependymal cells are going to line the ventricles. So here in the center of the brain, we have lateral ventricle, one, and then there's lateral ventricle, two. There's two chambers. And the CSF then flows down into the third ventricle, which is here. And then it flows down here into the fourth ventricle. And then it's going to escape down through the central canal, or it'll escape through this median and lateral aperture. There's different exit routes for the cerebral spinal fluid, so it can flow down and bathe the spinal cord and come out and around and bathe the entire brain. So you have CSF floating inside the brain and even outside of the brain. Now the CSF travels in a space that's under the arachnoid matter that's called the subarachnoid space. Subarachnoid, under the arachnoid. That's where the CSF flows. So in terms of the meninges and in terms of the spaces, this is the vertebrae. We have the same layers that are around the spinal cord that we do the brain. So here's the vertebra. This is the vertebral body. Back here is the spinous process. Here's your spinal cord. And what we have, the innermost layer, let's remember pad, P-A-D, the pia mater is the innermost layer. So this is your spinal cord. The pia mater is this layer going around the spinal cord. That's pia. The middle layer is the arachnoid. It means spider web, like arachnophobia. That's spider. And then the outermost layer, dura mater, means tough mother. It's the layer that's closest to the bone. That's the dura. So the meninges are off to the right, but we have spaces as well. So above the dura is the epidural space, where we've got some fat. And then under the dura is the subdural space. And then under the arachnoid is the subarachnoid space. And the subarachnoid space is where we have the cerebral spinal fluid that flows. It's flowing all around and bathing all of this tissue. And we know that if you have a bacterial infection or a viral infection of the meninges, that's what we call meningitis.